Heavy rain and high winds just the beginning. The severe weather threat putting the Mid-South in the crosshairs.
He never knew his mother. Now he's making sure her killer never goes free.
He stole her from all of us.
His message to Tennessee's parole board.
And calling on the Metro Police Department to step up and crack down on misconduct. The mounting pressure. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Right now, a brand new live look over Broadway and downtown Nashville, where that rain is back. The threat of lightning actually causing an evacuation at Ascend Amphitheater. At the same time, cleanup is underway after strong storms bring down trees around parts of the mid-state.
Now, other issues tonight include heavy rain. We're getting some of that in parts of the viewing area now. We also saw a few tornado warnings earlier tonight, and this is just the beginning as Helene will bring more chances for severe weather this week. And our Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan here more with now on not only the timing but the threats, not only for the rest of the night but the rest of the week.
There's a lot going on right now. The good news is I think our severe weather risk for the evening and let's say the next 12 hours is generally very low. We had a watch that was in effect. That expired at 7 o'clock. We are no longer in Code Red mode, but we will continue to see these showers and a few rumbles of thunder out there. These showers capable of producing some pretty heavy rain. And I would expect a lot of this activity to quiet down in the next couple of hours with just a stray showers we head through the overnight tonight. So we will continue to see a few storms around. The severe weather threat is pretty low for the overnight and then becomes zero as we head towards tomorrow morning. I do think we could find some patchy fog for tomorrow. Still feeling a tad humid outside. The front is actually stalled out. It's going to stall out over Middle Tennessee, and that will trap in some of the moisture. So we take a look here at our loop from radar, and you can see that that front is slowly marching through. There's a lot of meteorology at play here. We've got a cold front coming in from the west, an upper level system that will stall out the front, and it will bring us rain for tomorrow. And then, of course, all eyes on Tropical Storm Helene that is continuing to churn through the Caribbean and eventually will emerge and then rapidly intensify in the Gulf. As far as our local impacts go for Helene, which will begin as early as Thursday, I'm expecting minor impacts for us here, mainly in the form of heavy rain. We could end up with some areas that see a little too much rainfall, and it could lead to some localized flooding. We'll talk more about that, the wind potential, and if we have any tornado potential with this system, all coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
I think he should have to serve all of the 51 years.
In Operation Crime and Justice tonight, a convicted killer now up for parole after serving only 30 of his 51-year sentence.
Well, the family of his victim in Dickson is now living a nightmare as he could end up a free man. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joining us live downtown where his parole hearing is soon to take place. Karen.
The family from Dickson is praying the Tennessee Board of Parole can see how much pain the convicted killer has caused them and hope they decide to keep him behind bars.
Carrie Newberry was a 17-year-old beauty with a 5-month-old son, DJ.
They had told me like I was always with her.
I sat down with her son, who's now an adult. Not only did he never know his mother, he grew up knowing she was killed in the most horrible way back in 1993 by this man, James Spann.
He shot her once, drug her down into the woods, shot her the other times, and then left her body for about 24 hours and went back and set her on fire. And this is Christmas present she had bought for me that was under the tree.
As we go through the newspaper clippings that serve as a stark reminder of what Spann put his family through, he relives some of that pain.
She didn't get to see my first step. She didn't get to see me graduate high school. She didn't get to see me go off to college. You know, I haven't had her when I needed her the most.
His mom was burned so badly, she was first identified by police with this ring, an heirloom and fuel for his desire to keep Spann in prison.
He stole her from all of us. You know, and my family, they never got to say goodbye to her because of how burnt she was.
Carrie's father, Charles Newberry, speaks to us before Spann's parole hearing.
How badly did her death and the manner in which she died impact you as her father?
Oh, it's something that, you know, it's day and a day that goes by that I don't think about it. I don't want to see anybody to go through anything like this, you know, especially for what he did.
Rudy Callis, a prison minister, believes this convicted killer might deserve a second chance.
Oh, there certainly can be change. I mean, I try to work with those guys. I've always said if you change a man's heart, you can change his life.
He hasn't changed.
The parole board has denied Spann before. Carrie's family hopes the board members make the same decision.
I think he's an evil person, like he is. He has no remorse for what he did.
Spann's parole hearing is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Reporting live in downtown, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
The Covenant School could be moving locations following the deadly 2023 mass shooting that killed 3 children and 3 staffers. Those behind the school reopened the campus late last year after making several changes. Inside the building, you can see bright colors and messages of hope. A statement from the school and the Covenant Presbyterian Church says the current campus will be home for the next 3 years, but mentioned a campaign to get a brand new campus.
We are also trying to look out for the safety of our community members.
Continuing coverage tonight on the battle to regulate who gets to pick up passengers on busy Nashville streets. Rideshare drivers, first of all, want better pay. They also are pushing for a ban on out-of-state drivers and a crackdown on illegal drivers. And they took their complaints to city leaders in a public town hall meeting tonight. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller now live downtown at the Metro Courthouse after tracking this issue for several months. How did it go tonight?
Yes, Scott. Well, we spoke with several Uber and Lyft drivers tonight who say that they came together to form a union to fight for what they believe needs to change here in the rideshare industry. They say that they invited Metro leaders to hear them out on the issues that they've been dealing with the hopes of working together to change moving forward.
Illegal taxi and rideshare drivers continue to raise safety concerns. And tonight, rideshare drivers are speaking out about more issues impacting their pay. Kovan Ali says he's been driving for Uber and Lyft for 9 years. This year, he says he's down thousands of dollars because of the saturated market.
They're not making as much as they used to make, and they're not able to support their families like they used to.
Ali emphasizes Tennessee allows out-of-state drivers to drive in Nashville. And he adds the illegal taxi and rideshare drivers are also taking a lot of their customers. Now he says they're the ones suffering.
If we had to put in 8 to 10 hours a day previously, we're going to have to probably push for more. And it's really not safe for us to be on the road those long days, long hours, to be able to survive.
Several Metro Council members attended the meeting to learn more about the rideshare driver concerns.
When we're looking at how we move and get around our city, they are, a vital piece of that, and we want to make sure that they feel supported and that they have the resources that they need.
Uber driver Arcangelo Wilson says they need the city's support and the city needs drivers for tourism. And he says at the end of the day, there's a bigger issue here.
We are also trying to look out for the safety of our community members.
Wilson emphasizes when a person gets into an unlicensed driver's vehicle, they cannot track the person. And that, he says, can be very dangerous.
The Tennessee Drivers Union is hoping for a partnership with Metro leaders so they can work on solving these problems together. Then they say that they'd like to work on more of the state problems with state leaders. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. Certainly a complicated issue, a lot of layers, and Fox 17 News has been tracking issues associated with these rideshare drivers and unlicensed cabbies for months now. You can see all of our previous reporting on the Fox Nashville YouTube channel.
Well, new information as we know that the pilot killed in Monday's plane crash was Daryl Whitaker. According to his pilot profile on Check Ride HQ, Whitaker has been flying since 1998 and worked as a flight instructor for the last decade. Tonight, our aviation analyst is reviewing the crash data.
Captain Robert Katz has been flying for 43 years. The commercial pilot and flight instructor is reviewing Monday's plane crash in Chapmansboro in Cheatham County. He does not want to show his face. The pilot, Daryl Whitaker, got in his Pitts special aerobatic plane and took off from Whifferdill Airport at 2:45 p.m. Monday and crashed into the backwaters of the Cumberland River 12 minutes later.
And when we look at the track log, we can see that the airplane was flying no steady course throughout its entire flight, became very erratic. The speed fluctuated greatly, very close to stalling speed to extremely fast. This is not, in my opinion, consistent with organized aerobatic flying, which is what this airplane is designed to do. This appears to me to be an airplane that's out of control.
There are pictures of the stunt plane online, as well as records flagged by Captain Katz. According to the FAA registry, the plane was manufactured in 1998, but the airworthiness certificate was reissued in 2002, indicating the aircraft sustained some sort of damage or modification.
And when we see the rate of climb and rate of descent fluctuating greatly as well, that indicates to me, strictly in my opinion, that the possibility exists the control locks were in place and not properly removed. The purpose of these locks is to protect the airplane when it sits on the ground.
Captain Katz says if the control locks were missed in the pre-flight safety checklist and the pilot took off without removing them from the interior and exterior of the plane, it could result in catastrophic consequences, which could have been what happened here.
Still ahead tonight on Fox 17 News at 9, a disturbing trend, how smugglers are using. Well, the Metro Police Department overhauled its sexual misconduct policy amid mounting pressure from city leaders. Now, this comes after years of sexual harassment and discrimination allegations rattling the department.
Well, one group says that it's received nearly 100 complaints of sexual harassment from Metro Police employees since 2020. But MNPD says it already has a zero-tolerance policy. Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino is looking into the proposed changes addressing what some say is a chronic issue for Nashville police.
Allegations of sexual misconduct within the Metro Nashville Police Department blew up in 2020. One officer sued the city and was awarded $300,000 in damages last year, all city tax dollars.
I understand the pain that MNPD clients share, because I too was sexually harassed while I was an MNPD officer.
The group Silent No Longer Tennessee, led by Greta McLean, says it's received 92 allegations of sexual harassment, mostly from female police employees, over the last 4 years. McLean says most complaints go unreported, the victims fearing retaliation.
They didn't report it because they were afraid that they wouldn't get backup if they needed it. That concerns me because, having been an officer, I know what can happen if you need backup and don't have it.
Metro Police declined Fox 17 News' interview request. I emailed MNPD multiple times on this issue. MNPD writes the department has not seen nor do we have any information concerning the 92 claims. After the allegations in 2020, then Mayor John Cooper called for sweeping changes, including MNPD creating a zero-tolerance sexual harassment policy. But McLean says victims tell her that policy is not being followed.
And recently speaking with employees, current employees, all of them that I spoke with have said that sexual harassment is still very rampant within the department.
So allegedly rampant that Metro's Community Review Board created this extensive sexual misconduct policy for the police chief to consider. It details things like mandatory reporting, including from witnesses, and having an outside team review sexual misconduct complaints.
It will change lives. It will change experiences.
Metro Council widely passed a resolution last week for MNPD to adopt the new, more specific guidelines.
The current policy within MNPD, whatever that is not being enforced and really has no teeth.
But Metro Police say sexual misconduct is already clearly outlined and prohibited in the department's manual, as well as other city policies. A violation can lead to discipline, including termination. Some council members agreed when debating the policy during last week's meeting.
We have a policy in place that is already
pretty stringent if you read it.
Metro Police also say that sexual misconduct isn't unique to any one department, warranting a specific policy for police only.
So will Metro Police implement the Community Review Board's proposed policy? Well, Chief John Drake doesn't have to unless potentially directed by the mayor. That said, Metro Council's vote does appear to send a message.
Right now, all eyes are on you to do the right thing. So use your good character and implement the policy. Because what happens after that, if it doesn't happen, is just unpleasant.
The mayor's office tells Fox 17 News in a statement that it is exploring whether policies can be strengthened and applied to all city departments, not just police.
Metro Police and multiple other city departments are now reviewing the policy. This all comes as MMPD continues to push its 30-30 initiative, a goal to have 30% female officers by 2020. I'm Kelly Avellino for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Our active weather pattern is going to continue for the next several days, which means plenty of opportunity for rain. We take a look at what we can expect here. Stalled front as we head into Wednesday. That's after a few more of these showers and storms for the overnight time period. The stalled front will bring us some showers and storms as well. The severe weather threat very low for tomorrow. I don't really expect severe weather to be a problem for us. Then our focus shifts to Helene and what we may see locally. As far as, again, weather for tomorrow, we'll see these off and on showers that'll be with us. Temperatures look to be in the upper 70s only due to all of the cloud cover and the potential for these showers and storms. As we get into Thursday, then, our again focus shifts towards Helene. Flooding rain will be the main concern for us. Anywhere between 2 to 3 inches area wide. We could find some pockets 4, perhaps 5 inches out east this time around toward the Cumberland Plateau and the upper Cumberland region. Winds, it may pick up a little bit through here, anywhere between 10 to 20 mile per hour winds with gusts up to 25, could be closer to 30 to 35. Again, out towards the Cumberland Plateau. That should last through early Saturday morning. And right now, I do not expect a tornado threat for us here. The bigger tornado risk is going to be along the Carolina and Georgia coastline as it's on that right side of the storm as it works its way inland. So as far as severe weather goes, traditional severe weather, I don't see as much of a concern. Rain will be our primary threat here. So we take a look at Tropical Storm Helene. The latest advisory was 7. Another one will come out at 10. Still expected as a major hurricane to make landfall on Thursday as a tropical storm inland here through Georgia and Atlanta, and a depression as it moves through Tennessee. We will see rain as early as Thursday morning that'll move through here. We'll continue off and on through Friday. As we head through Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, we are looking at, or through Wednesday, I should say, a few of these showers for tomorrow. Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, we'll continue to find a stray shower or two. It doesn't look like we will start to see more of those showers begin to build in until we head toward the afternoon and evening on Thursday. I expect the peak of impacts to be late Thursday into early Friday. We'll walk you through the rest of Future Track and talk more about overall impacts across the southeast coming up.
Too soft on teen crime, why some say it's fueling a day.
A disturbing trend at the southern border. Agents say smugglers are drugging children and bringing them into the U.S.
Fox 17 News' Christine Frizzell tonight investigating why solving this problem is not an easy task.
Among the latest challenges for those tasked with securing the border, an alarming trend of human smugglers using children, even, quote, recycling them to make it easier to enter the country.
Migrants and the smugglers know that that's the equivalent of an automatic passport in the United States.
The border chief in El Centro, California, posting these photos of children who had been smuggled and heavily dosed with sleep aids to prevent the children from speaking to authorities. And the person who smuggled this boy also had birth certificates for multiple children. Just this week, a Laredo, Texas woman was charged with operating a child smuggling ring, admitting to sedating a young girl with melatonin gummies, with a similar tactic used in a case in Arizona last month.
The woman had difficulty waking the children. Officers observed that the children remained extremely groggy. While interviewing the children, officers soon discovered there was no family relationship between the woman and the two minors, ages 11 and 8.
Thousands of other children brought to the United States were discovered by the New York Times last year to be working in grueling jobs in roofing, construction, and factories like meat processing plants. Lawmakers shocked to find little accountability from the Office of Refugee Resettlement, which places them with so-called family members.
ORR does not monitor or track the whereabouts of children after they are released from our care.
They are just a few of the many problems with our immigration system involving children. One reason why Vice President Kamala Harris is reportedly planning a trip to the southern border later this week, and why Donald Trump discusses the border just about every day, hoping an issue polls say he's more trusted on could help him win in November. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Teen crime raising concerns.
And now they have no regard for human life.
In Operation Crime and Justice, Metro and state leaders tonight calling for a crackdown on teen offenders after 4 teens are charged with firing on Metro police officers in an unmarked car, as well as a Metro police helicopter.
And as Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker shows us, cases like this are renewing concerns about teen crime.
Since the start of this year, Metro Nashville police officers have made more than 1,300 juvenile arrests. That number, though, nearly 5,000 arrests since the start of 2022. This is why state lawmakers say we need to get a handle on this troubling pattern.
In 2022, police made more than 1,600 juvenile arrests in Nashville, a number that jumped to more than 1,900 the following year.
They're doing grown-up crimes. They need to do grown-up time.
Frustrated by Monday afternoon's shooting involving teens and police, Ken Alexandro, a former MMPD officer with 26 years of experience, reflects on the changing dynamics between juveniles and law enforcement.
They stopped listening to us and started running. So I got to see the progression of when we were their hero, and now we're the villain.
Alexandro believes teens no longer fear consequences and calls for stricter punishments, as the district attorney's office says that most juvenile crimes do not carry into adulthood, and those records become sealed.
In most cases, they get a clean slate, and they get to start all over.
That's why Tennessee Senator Brent Taylor is collaborating with House Speaker Cameron Sexton on 2 bills to address juvenile crime next session.
One would be allowing judges, when they're setting bail for a young adult, an 18-year-old, for example, to be able to look into their juvenile history to make a determination of whether or not that young adult will be a threat to the community if they were released.
Senator Taylor notes the state lacks juvenile detention centers, leading to some offenders being released with ankle bracelets. So he will propose acquiring the closed Core Civic facility in West Tennessee to convert it into a youth detention center.
What we're doing now is not working, and it's only making career criminals out of juveniles that if there were consequences, perhaps they would not choose a life of crime as an adult.
Last session, lawmakers passed Senator Taylor's blended sentencing bill with automatic transfers to adult courts for heinous crimes. He says this will go into law at the start of next year. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
And we want to know what you think. Should Tennessee judges be allowed to look at juvenile records when deciding adult cases? This poll live on your screen right now, and you can see 280 people have weighed in so far tonight, and 85.7% of those voted said yes. 14.3% say no. This poll is live right now. To cast your vote, you can scan the QR code there on your screen. It will take you over to our X page. Our handle's at Fox Nashville. Still time to vote.
Continuing now with Operation Crime and Justice, a plea from Metro Police to responsible gun owners. Lock your cars, take your guns inside. Metro says so far this year, crooks have stolen, this is a huge number, check this out, 653 weapons have been taken from cars. How many of those happened this week? 16. What is it, Tuesday? Now, guns taken from cars make up 71% of all the weapons that have been stolen in Nashville since the first of the year.
Looking ahead, if you have fall break plans, a reminder that you're not the only one. Nashville International Airport is expecting a passenger surge over the next few weeks. While airport leaders want you to arrive about 2 hours before your departure, they also want you to expect the opposite if you're picking someone up. They say cars circling the terminal makes a nightmare for everyone.
New tonight, spreading the joy of reading to children across the volunteer state. Nashville students at 5 different public schools got a chance to get free books today from Governor Lee's Early Childhood Literacy Foundation. The free shopping trip happened at Robert Churchwell Magnet School. It involved kids from pre-K all the way up to grade 5. And all of this comes as less than half of Tennessee third graders are proficient at reading. Hopefully this will help. Update now as the federal appeals court refuses to even hear a case challenging Tennessee's drag ban. This challenge involves a Memphis theater company that called the ban a violation of their First Amendment rights. A judge previously ruled that drag shows are adult entertainment and restrictions that were imposed by the state do not violate their constitutional rights. Under this Tennessee law, adult cabaret entertainment is banned on public property. Katie.
Scott, let's walk through Future Track more for Thursday and for Friday. And we're going to start this Thursday evening. And you can see that as we go through the evening hours on Thursday, that more rain will begin to fill in. And this will be impacts from what is left over from Helene. Overnight Thursday into Friday, rounds of heavy rain will be expected. This is through Friday 3 a.m. Notice that it's coming in waves as it moves in. So by Friday morning, really expecting a soggy start to the morning commute. And we go through the rest of Friday here. You can see that it continues off and on throughout the day. A lot of the heavy rain does look to be more east this time around. With Francine, it was west. This one looks to be a little east. And as we head into Saturday, we will start to see the heavier showers move out, but lingering rain will continue not only for Saturday, but for Sunday as well. And overall, for at least the next 48 hours, you can see the intensity really looks to be around Nashville and Crossville. So again, more of that rain looking to be east this time as opposed to west. As we get more towards the overnight hours for Thursday, you can see that Crossville, or I should say Clarksville, does start to pick up on some of that rain as well. We'll have more on the overall impacts across the southeast coming up.
An unusual adoption, how tough times lead to a solid. In politics, the violence in the Middle East and Ukraine will be in the spotlight as world leaders gather at the United Nations.
Fox 17 News' Atra El-Nashar tonight shows us how President Biden plans to tackle these topics in his final speech at the UN as he prepares to leave office.
In his fourth and final speech to the United Nations Tuesday, President Biden tried to deliver a message of hope as crises unfold across the globe.
Things can get better. We should never forget that.
The president reflected on challenges that met him when he took office, like the pandemic and what ended up being a chaotic and deadly withdrawal from Afghanistan.
It was a decision accompanied by tragedy. 13 brave Americans lost their lives, along with hundreds of Afghans in a suicide bomb.
While Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in the audience, Republicans on the House Foreign Affairs Committee moved forward with holding him in contempt of Congress for not complying with the subpoena to testify Tuesday about the Afghanistan withdrawal. Blinken says their calls for him to appear have all conflicted with his diplomatic travel, including commitments at the UN Tuesday to debate foreign ministers of Russia and China. Representatives for those two countries, as well as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, watched on as President Biden made the case for continued support for Ukraine.
Will we sustain our support to help Ukraine win this war and preserve its freedom, or walk away and let aggression be renewed and a nation be destroyed?
As he spoke, across the world, Israel and Hezbollah traded fire in a second day of airstrikes. Monday was believed to be the deadliest day in Lebanon since 2006.
Full-scale war is not in anyone's interest.
But the region appears closer to that dreaded outcome each day, with the ceasefire hostage release deal still unsettled.
Now is the time for the parties to finalize its terms.
The global unrest costing tens of thousands of lives and threatening economic stability. When the CEO of America's biggest bank was asked what concerns him most, he said the war in Ukraine, violence in the Middle East, and rising tensions between the U.S. and China.
And the attack fundamentally on the rule of law that was set up after World War II. If it really goes south, obviously it'll affect markets like you've never seen.
At the moment, tensions on multiple fronts are only escalating, setting up a series of high-stakes challenges for America's next president.
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
A 42-year-old man is adopted by his senior citizen attorney. What these two share is no ordinary bond.
Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier brings us an adoption story that started with a painful legal battle that you first saw in the Ferrier Files back in 2017.
Tears of pain turned to tears of joy. A Clarksville adoption unlike any you have ever seen, part of a story you will find hard to believe.
Connie Reguly and Adam Ellithorpe first met each other in 2013. Adam and his wife Ashley say Adam's mom asked to take their children to the zoo and have a sleepover. Instead, Grandma went to court and got emergency custody of the children. The grandparents made lots of allegations against the Ellithorpes, including that he didn't have cell phones and were homeless. Even though that wasn't true, the court did not give the Ellithorpes their kids back. So Ellithorpe hired family law attorney Reguly.
And so we set on a mission and never let up.
Never let up.
Never let up. And it was months before they could even see their children. And that story was just just so infested by the time it came to me with bad lawyering, bad judges, bad history, people doing everything wrong, and we just we never let up.
3 years later, a judge decides the Ellithorpes did nothing wrong, that the allegations made by Adam's mom had no merit, and gave Adam and Ashley Ellithorpe their children back. Of course, that ended the relationship between Adam and his mom, while the relationship with attorney Reguly blossomed.
I feel like that the way I was betrayed by my family, I have my own family that has no family, and she's been the best family and the only family that's ever truly loved me and my kids for what they were.
After the case, they remained close, birthdays and holidays, and then vacations in Florida and Gatlinburg. Adam began wondering, is it crazy to think maybe Connie would agree to be his new mom?
It's a big feeling. It's something I've been wanting for a long time, and now it's just like all sinking in at the same time.
Wow, yeah. So I think I sort of emotionally adopted the family in 2013. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
A decade later, a growing idea turned into legal adoption.
And you would be considered a child just as though you were born to her. Do you understand that?
As Connie and Adam made the giant step from lawyer-client to mom and son.
Congratulations to y'all.
My eldest child, my firstborn.
Right? I cried the whole way here. And I'm going to cry a lot today. And it's a happy cry. Because my kids are happy, I'm happy. She knows I love her. She knows that. I'm a phone call away, always.
Someone to take care of you, and someone you will take care of. The perfect family.
One of the sweetest parts of the story is that Connie's other adopted adult children, as well as Adam and Ashley's kids, all supported the adoption, unanimously voting to become a family. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
Well, this is video from earlier this evening where weather evacuated Ascend Amphitheater. Folks waiting to get back into the amphitheater to continue the concert. We had a few lightning delays, in fact, this evening. And as we go through the remainder of the evening and into the overnight, we will continue to see a couple of these showers around. The overall severe weather threat has ended for tonight. But as we head into tomorrow and into Thursday and Friday, we'll continue to see very active weather around in the form of heavy rain mainly. Again, that is going to be our main concern here, especially with the abundance of rain over the next several days. We'll have plenty of chances for showers here. Still looking at some of those rain showers on radar this evening. Again, nothing severe for the evening hours. As we head into Thursday and Friday, the key messages for Helene here. It is expected to become a major hurricane, making landfall in Florida along the Big Bend, it looks like right now. Local impacts here will be between Thursday and early Saturday morning. And again, as I mentioned, rain is going to be the primary threat for us. This time around, the severe weather tornado threat does not look to be as great because where the track is at this point, the better ingredients for tornadic activity will be well east of us toward the Carolina and Georgia coastline. So there will be a track the potential for a track shift, but again, I think that will mainly impact how much rain we may or may not see, and maybe even some wind gusts as well. This is a look at our peak storm surge forecast for the Gulf Coast of Florida, and this really is impressive here. The potential for, in the Big Bend area, the potential for more than 12 feet of storm surge with this storm, and storm surge expected to be very high even along the Gulf Coast from Tampa to Fort Myers and Naples even. So this is a look at our key here. 9 feet possible in the Tampa area and about 6 feet or less for folks in and around Port Charlotte and the Fort Myers area. So this quite impressive to see even how far away the center of the storm is. This is going to be a massive hurricane. At least that's the way it is forecast. This is one of our models that'll show us wind gusts and generally showing us how big or how large this system is. All of the yellow indicates tropical storm force winds that are possible, 39-mile-per-hour winds. But what I want to show is how, again, large it is. It is almost swallowing up the entire eastern part of the Gulf right here, stretching from the Keys, well beyond the Keys, down to Cuba, in fact, all the way up to the Florida Panhandle. So it is expected to be maybe 400 miles wide and tall. So that, again, is a very large swath that we could be looking at tropical storm force winds at least, and then, of course, hurricane force winds as we get closer to the center. Even here in Tennessee, especially in East Tennessee, the potential for maybe a brief tropical storm force wind gust. As we take a look quickly here at our wind gusts through Wednesday, not too bad. But as we get into Thursday afternoon and evening, we will start to see those gusts pick up, especially overnight into Friday. This model in particular does bring in a few gusts, 30 to even 40 miles per hour by Friday morning. And that again will be for folks on the Cumberland Plateau, especially some of those higher elevations. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some gusts up to about 40 miles per hour, which would be tropical storm force. Again, some of these types of forecasts with the wind gusts and even our rain totals, still a little bit of room to iron out details as we get into tomorrow. So make sure.
In a Fox 17 News health alert, now is the time most employees have to pick out their insurance plans for the upcoming year.
Now, this is a tough task as people try to weigh the cost with the coverage that's being offered. Not only are you balancing plans like HMOs versus PPOs, but health savings accounts are in play as well these days. So how do you do the right thing, pick the right plan? Experts say take your time. Most people, it seems, they say take only 15 minutes to select their plans, and the experts say it's simply not enough. So weigh your options over several days if necessary.
For the bronze.
In entertainment news, a big honor for the man in black, country legend Johnny Cash.
Well, his likeness is now on display inside the U.S. Capitol building. Cash is an Arkansas native, so groups in his home state helped make it happen. Those behind the statue say Cash's reputation as the common man and his work in several music genres is why he deserved the honor.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
We begin tonight with severe weather and lightning causing an evacuation of the Ascend Amphitheater downtown tonight. That's after heavy rain and even some tornado warnings earlier.
Now this is the Gulf Coast is preparing for a blow. Tropical storm Helene, which is predicted to bring more rain here to Middle Tennessee later in the week. And Fox 17's Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan here with what we can expect the rest of the night first, and then for the rest of the baton the rest of the week.
Yeah, a couple showers and storms out there still from this afternoon. The good news is severe weather is really low at this point. The watch has canceled cold, and do not expect more for tonight. I would say, if anything, a few rumbles of thunder and gusts of wind are possible east. This is a look at a storm moving through Cookeville, in fact, right now in Putnam County. So some decent rain here, a few rumbles of thunder as well. And another one getting ready to move through Murfreesboro here in Rutherford County. So I would say that if you are along and west of I-65, you're clear for the night, as there is little to no storm energy left to the west. To the east, we're still dealing with a little bit of that energy, which is why we're seeing some lightning strikes. But again, not expecting severe weather as we head through the overnight. So we'll continue to see a few storms possible, I'd say through midnight, and then we'll start to see things quiet down. A little bit of fog will be possible, especially with all the rain that we did see for today. A lot going on here with this picture. We've got the cold front that's pushing through. It is actually going to stall out. It won't make its way through all of Middle Tennessee. An upper level system here that's going to help this front sort of stall and bring rain for tomorrow. And then our rain for Thursday and Friday will come from Helene, that is churning in the Caribbean. Right now, I'm expecting minor impacts here. It'll be a major hurricane making landfall along the Florida coastline. Once it gets to Tennessee, it'll be maybe still a depression, at least an organized tropical system as far as a depression goes. But looking at minor impacts, mainly in the form of heavy rainfall. We'll talk more about that, and we'll time it out coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
I think he's an evil person, like he is. He has no remorse for what he did.
In Operation Crime and Justice, DJ Tucker and his family are asking the state parole board to keep the man who murdered his mother behind bars. He was sentenced to 51 years in prison, but is trying to get out after serving 30.
Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is live downtown tonight, where that parole hearing will be held tomorrow.
DJ Tucker was just 5 months old when James Spann took his mom's life. He tells me that he doesn't believe Spann deserves a second chance at his parole hearing. He tells me his mom, Carrie Newberry, was 17 years old when she was shot and set on fire by Spann in 1993. He tells me he never knew his mom because she was taken too soon. He also tells me he's been devastated when she wasn't able to see him go through milestones like graduating college, and has also felt anger towards Spann. He tells me he's anxious about the parole hearing and hopes Spann is denied parole.
I was just asking them, to put themselves in my shoes. If this was your mom, would you want the killer to walk free? To have a chance to do it again to someone else?
They can change.
Rudy Kalis, a prison minister from Men of Valor, tells me prisoners can change and sometimes deserve second chances. Carrie Newberry's family tells me this man does not deserve a second chance, considering he has no remorse and the pain he has caused them. The parole hearing for Spann is tomorrow morning. Reporting live in downtown, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
You need us and we need you. Without us, the tourist industry will not function.
Continuing coverage tonight on calls from local rideshare drivers for city leaders in Nashville to ban out-of-state operators and to crack down on illegal drivers, those who don't have permits. That's on top of complaints about the money they make. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live outside the Metro Courthouse after attending a town hall-style meeting tonight between those drivers and city leaders.
Scott, the drivers we spoke with say that the market is oversaturated. They say the problem is that Tennessee allows out-of-state drivers to come here and work, and they say the city allows unlicensed drivers to work here on our streets. Now tonight, these rideshare drivers spoke up at a town hall meeting about the issues that they say they've been dealing with. Kavan Ali says he's been driving for Uber and Lyft for 9 years, and this year he says he's down thousands of dollars because there's too many drivers. He emphasizes it's hard to support his family and is living paycheck to paycheck. Several Metro Council members attended the meeting to learn more about the rideshare driver concerns.
The revenues you are generating, both from Uber and Lyft, is a lot, and it's because of the drivers. Every ride you get, you pay $5 to the city.
Uber driver Arcangelo Wilson says rideshare drivers are critical for the city, but now he says they need the city's help to regulate these drivers. Now, the Tennessee Drivers Union says that they're really hoping to have a partnership with Metro leaders after this to work on some of these city concerns, and then eventually they say they'd like to work with state leaders on the state concerns. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
In Operation Crime and Justice, Metro and state leaders are demanding a tougher approach to teen crime after 4 young people are accused of shooting at an unmarked police car and a police helicopter. Since the start of 2022, Metro Police have made nearly 5,000 juvenile arrests. This trend has state lawmakers calling for change. Senator Brent Taylor says he's bringing 2 bills up next session. One adding another youth detention center in Tennessee, and another allowing judges to see an adult offender's juvenile record.
We have to get a handle on this juvenile crime because what we're doing now is not working, and it's only making career criminals out of juveniles that if there were consequences, perhaps they would not choose a life of crime as an adult.
Last session, lawmakers passed Senator Taylor's blended sentencing bill. It allows some violent teen offenders to serve time after their 18th birthday.
In our earlier newscast today, we asked you, our viewers, whether you think Tennessee judges should be allowed to look at a juvenile offender's records when deciding an adult case. And you see, we're up to almost 300 votes now. 86% say yes, we think judges should be able to look at that information. 14% say no. Our thanks to all who took time to vote, and be sure to watch for a new Fox 17 X poll tomorrow.
Making headlines, the man accused of staking out former President Trump at his golf course now faces attempted assassination charges. Ryan Routh initially faced only 2 federal gun charges. The Department of Justice believes that he methodically plotted to kill Mr. Trump, leaving behind a note detailing his intentions. Secret Service agents stopped him before he got a chance to fire.
Watchdog group are sounding the alarm over outdated air traffic control systems.
And as Fox News' Kelly Sabari explains, the report finds many are in need of immediate updates and new spare parts.
Nearly 80% of U.S. air traffic control systems are considered, quote, unsustainable or potentially unsustainable, according to a new report from the Government Accountability Office. The federal watchdog warns there could be safety risks in U.S. airspace if the Federal Aviation Administration continues to rely on these systems.
Right now, 90% of our budget for facilities goes on sustainment rather than new systems.
FAA Administrator Michael Whitaker testifying on Capitol Hill that the agency's facilities have been underinvested over the years. Some Republican lawmakers are pointing the finger at the Department of Transportation, accusing it of putting politics over safety.
This administration and that agency are focused on social agendas.
Meanwhile, Whitaker says the FAA is also working to improve its process for identifying aviation risks after a series of safety issues on board Boeing planes.
Should the American public have confidence that it is safe to fly on Boeing airplanes?
They should. We have inspectors that are on the floor every day overseeing the process, talking with employees.
He adds while progress has been made, the plane maker has to make significant changes.
There must be a profound shift in the company's safety culture to holistically address its quality assurance and production challenges.
Whitaker told lawmakers a full turnaround from Boeing could take years to complete. In Chicago, Kelly Sabari, Fox Business.
I'm Janae Bowens with a look at why remote workers might be at a disadvantage.
Optimism returning to Wall Street, with traders anticipating there could be another large interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve at its November 7th meeting. Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic and the Chicago Fed's Austin Goolsbee have hinted last week's 0.5% cut might not be the only large move.
I don't think we're going to have another 50 points, but the Fed does have to bring the rate down, unfortunately, because they're a little above where the bond market tells them they should be, and there's a gap in the rate structure.
Wall Street closed Monday with fresh records for the Dow Jones Industrials and the S&P 500. Union officials are highly critical of Boeing's fresh offer to striking machinists. They said it had no input from the union and doesn't address concerns of its membership. They also criticized the company for sharing it with union members and the news media. And TikTok is pulling the plug on its music streaming service after a year-long tryout. TikTok Music will close November 28th, according to a message on the company's website. The short video giant rolled out the subscription-based music streaming platform in July last year in Indonesia and Brazil, and they expanded to Australia, Mexico, and Singapore weeks after. CJ Papa, Fox News.
New tonight, could working remotely stunt your career growth?
As Fox 17 News' Janae Bowens explains, new research suggests that could be the case.
Working from home has a lot of benefits.
I don't understand why I go into the office anyway, because a lot of my work can be done remote.
I'm more productive at home, but as far as like learning goes, I'm not learning as much as I would on my own than I would with my peers.
But it turns out there are disadvantages too. 86% of CEOs say they will reward employees who make an effort to come in with favorable assignments, raises, or promotions. That's according to professional services network KPMG.
It shows that an employee is more dedicated when they actually come into the office. And that means during normal business time. What we're seeing is people that are coffee badging, where they just come in a couple hours late, say hello to everybody, and then leave early. And that's obviously not a very productive employee.
Maya Ratcliffe is the CEO and founder of the franchise entity Hawaii Fluid Art. She says having her employees in the studio or the office allows for easier access.
I think that people that are considering going back into office need to think about the benefits, the camaraderie, the friendships, the amount of work that we get done, therefore not having to work late into the evening or weekends. If we can make our time in office absolutely as productive as possible, it actually gives us a better work-life balance.
According to the American Staffing Association, 56% of adults believe employees who work exclusively in office have a competitive advantage over their fully remote counterparts regarding raises, bonuses, and promotions. I'm Janae Bowens reporting.
Well, Fox 17 News is your home for college football. Your weekend kicks off with Washington taking on Rutgers on Friday. Coverage of that game starts at 7.
Then on Saturday, of course, a triple header. That's what we do here at Fox. It starts at 11 when Minnesota takes on the Michigan Wolverines. At 2:30, it is the Colorado Buffaloes, 2-1 on the year after winning last weekend in overtime, playing Central Florida. That will be followed by a late night game, a matchup between Oregon and UCLA at 10 p.m. Saturday night.
Then Sunday, we shift to the NFL. Catch Philadelphia taking on Tampa Bay. That game starts at noon.
The high school football season is officially here, and this time the frenzy is starting before kickoff. Fox 17's Football Frenzy Live starts at 6:30 every Friday night and will get you ready for all the biggest matchups in the mid-state. Our pregame show will be live at our game of the week every Friday night of the high school football regular season. From coach and player interviews to Friday night forecasts and fantastic fans, we have you covered in Nashville's only 30-minute high school football show. So join us every Friday night at 6:30 for Football Frenzy Live.
Going into Wednesday, we'll continue to see scattered showers and thunderstorms around the area. This will be due to the stalled out front that is moving through now. I don't see severe weather as a problem for tomorrow, but we'll continue to see pockets of heavy rain off and on. Other than that, looking at a mostly cloudy sky and those temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Latest advisories come out with Tropical Storm Helene. Does continue to strengthen. Winds now up to 60 miles per hour. And you can see here it's nearing Cancun, in fact, and it looks like it may just brush by Cancun with the latest track coming in as a Category 1 hurricane. So overnight tonight into tomorrow, expecting it to continue to strengthen just off the coast of Cancun there for tomorrow morning. And then it will gain speed and pick up a lot of intensity by Thursday evening now, expecting a landfall as a Category 3 hurricane right along the Florida Panhandle, the Big Bend area here. So again, this is going to be when we're expecting a landfall. Once it reaches land, it will continue to push northward here as a depression over Atlanta Louisiana and then working its way into Middle Tennessee as remnants at that point. That'll happen. At least the center of what's left of Helene will be moving through by Friday evening. We'll start to see rain, though, Thursday afternoon into Thursday night. So right now I'm expecting 2 to 3 inches area wide with pockets up to 4 to 5 between Thursday and early Saturday morning. Winds 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 25 possible. Some of the models hinting at this evening may be a little bit higher toward the Cumberland Plateau, so we may need to tweak that forecast a little bit for tomorrow as we expect a little bit more gusty winds moving through by Friday morning. As we take a look at future track here for the overnight, we'll look for a few stray showers. I do think some patchy fog will be possible for us. Heading into Wednesday afternoon, evening, pockets of rain will be around, dotting the radar here, relatively widely scattered across the area. And then as we head into Thursday morning, again, starting off fairly quiet, really starts to pick up as we head into Thursday night. Here comes the wave of rain rolling through Thursday evening. Overnight into Friday morning, this is where it really begins to pick up for us. Friday afternoon will continue to be quite rainy off and on throughout the day. We'll likely be looking at some rainy football games for Friday night, especially looking at some soggy football fields from all the rain that we have seen. Friday evening into Saturday morning, a lot of the rain starts to push out, but we will be left with scattered showers as we head through the weekend as well as kind of what happened with Francine. This low is just going to linger around the area throughout the weekend, and that will keep our shower chance alive through at least Sunday, if not Monday. So you notice with all the chances for rain here, we have dropped from the mid-90s last week to the mid-70s with showers and thunderstorms around. The tornado threat I should have mentioned, it does not look to be a big one for us this time around. We're on the other side of the hurricane, so that tornado threat will be more towards the Carolina and Georgia coastline.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Now that Helene has developed in the Caribbean Sea, people along Florida's Gulf Coast and points inland are preparing for its arrival as a major hurricane. And a couple of lenticular clouds appeared during sunset on Sunday in Montana. They typically form when a strong flow of stable air blows across mountains and is forced upward.
Listen to Off the Radar, new episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
And you can see more stories like this every weekday morning on the National Weather Desk. It starts at 8 a.m. on our sister station, MyTV 30.
Fox 17 health alert tonight for parents as a virus that could lead to a serious polio-like complication is on the rise across the country. This is according to the nonprofit network Wastewater Scan.
And as Fox 17 News' Jeff Harris reports, children are more likely to catch it and develop symptoms.
The virus is called enterovirus D68. It's a respiratory virus that spreads when someone infected coughs or sneezes. Now, most people only develop cold-like symptoms, but in some rare cases, the virus can lead to a polio-like condition called AFM.
Megan Kohler-Freeman isn't just an infectious disease physician. She's also a mom to 2 young children, an age group more prone to catching enterovirus D68, which is similar to a cold.
They're pretty constantly covered in snot and don't have the best skills when it comes to hand washing.
Freeman says we last saw this virus circulate in a big way in the fall of 2022, and starting around late July of this summer, a rising number of detections were found in nose swabs and wastewater.
We've seen a steady increase in the amount of this virus circulating in the country.
Freeman tells us most people infected with enterovirus D68 either have those cold-like symptoms or no symptoms at all, but the virus has been linked to another condition called acute flaccid myelitis.
This is a very alarming condition because it can cause previously healthy children to have some paralysis.
While concerning, Buddy Creech, director of the Vaccine Research Program at Vanderbilt University, says AFM cases are extremely rare.
Given the vast number of enterovirus infections that we see, this really is the tip of that iceberg.
So while parents don't need to be overly worried, he says if you start to notice your child develop any arm or leg weakness, you should reach out for help.
Or maybe a limp in the context of a cold, that's a reason to follow up with a child's pediatrician or other family provider.
Now, according to the CDC, as of September 3rd, there have been 13 confirmed cases of acute flaccid myelitis in 10 states. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.
It is known as soft wave tissue regeneration. I'm Liz Bonus. How it can treat pain without ever having to break the skin. We explain.
In your health news, a new shockwave treatment could help make your pain disappear.
Fox 17 medical reporter Liz Bonus tonight to show us how it works.
Hey there, everybody. It is a therapy known as soft wave tissue regeneration, and it appears to work under your skin in a whole new way. Even if you've tried other therapies, those who've had it say this one works.
For the last couple of years, I've been sidelined with hip pain.
Adrian Custer recently chose to have this treatment at Ohio's Wave Physical Therapy and Pilates.
Is that painful? Yeah.
It was getting hard, she says, to stand up.
And I actually felt like I was stuck sometimes in the sitting position. I would really have a hard time getting up at all.
Physical therapist Sarah Crawford performs this therapy.
We apply shockwaves to a targeted tissue, and it helps stimulate your own natural healing process.
As this animation provided by SoftWave shows, the waves trigger that response by working against inflammation and drawing new cells to the area in pain.
So it just does what our body naturally would do in the best case scenario.
A recent NIH study shows the therapy, which feels like a rubber band I discovered on your hand, shows it's effective in pain relief and wound healing, but it works best when combined with other movement treatments such as physical therapy and Pilates.
Yeah, the data supports 86% benefit at long-term follow-up of 12 months.
Well, it's not a miracle cure. Sarah says it's now in research for other therapies which are helped by improved blood supply.
FDA approved to treat plantar fasciitis and Achilles tendinopathy, but the American Academy of Urologists just met earlier this year to write a statement on SoftWave being primary line of treatment for erectile dysfunction.
As for Adrian, she says she can now get up pain-free.
It was probably by the fourth session I really started to notice a big difference on a daily basis.
Physical therapy covered by your medical insurance plans in most cases, but this therapy in some cases self-pay. That can be about $100 a session. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
All right, it's been a busy afternoon weather-wise. Fortunately, it feels like things are calming down just in time for midnight.
Yeah, and east of here toward the plateau, we'll continue to see a few showers, which you can see here on radar. These will be non-severe, but will bring some rumbles of thunder and some heavy pockets of rain. This should even clear out as we head towards midnight.
Depicted